What's up, guys? Jordan McAbee here, fantasyracingonline.com, and today we're going to talk about the 2021 All-Star Race at Texas Motor Speedway. Heading into the weekend, we have 17 drivers locked into the 2021 All-Star Race. How this is going to work this weekend is there will be the All-Star Open race on Sunday. That will partially determine the rest of the field, and then there will be a fan vote winner. So, first off, before we get to anything, just to be fully transparent, I do not plan on playing DraftKings that much at all. I might throw in one lineup and that's it, or severely limit the amount of money that I'm playing, especially compared to what I normally do. This week one. I welcome off weekends as with open arms, during the NASCAR season. This gets to be very long season, going from February to November, especially when I'm pumping out the amount of content that I do, running the games that I do. It gets a little tiring. So anytime there's a race like this where I can, breathe a little bit during the weekend, I always do. Or not even a race, but even just a weekend, any off weekend. It's always nice. And not to mention, with the All-Star format this year, it's pretty hard to predict. These are all kind of pretty hard to predict, though, because everybody's just going for the win. But this year, they definitely shook things up, and we'll go over that specifically here in a second. But so first off, there's going to be the All-Star Open. It's going to be 50 laps. Yeah, 50 laps, 3 stages, 20 laps, 10 laps. Winner of stage number 1 is going to start 18th. Winner of stage number 2 is going to start 19th. Winner of stage number 3 is going to start 20th in the All-Star race. And then there'll be a fan vote, or there is a fan vote going on. And chances are it's going to be Bubba Wallace or Daniel Suarez as that fan vote winner, and they will start 21st. So if they didn't win a stage in the Open, it'll be the person that won the fan vote after that. First through 17th in the All-Star was chose via random draw on Wednesday or Tuesday, I forget. Kyle Larson starting the pole. Kyle Busch starting second. Christopher Bell third. You can see the rest here on the screen. Blaney picked the worst. So how the All-Star, let's go over this format for this race. Because when I first saw it, I hated it. But as I looked into it, I didn't. So essentially we're going to have six stages on Sunday for the All-Star race. It's going to be 100 laps. So starting lineup for round 1 will be determined via random draw. We already have that. So it's what we just went over. Kyle Larson starting first. He's probably going to lead all 15 laps. So rounds 1 through 4, 15 laps each. Round 5, 30 laps. And then the final round, 10 laps to determine a winner. Where it gets interesting is at the beginning, or at the changing of the stage. I know they say rounds, but I'm just going to call them stages. So beginning of stage 2, field inverted via random draw, minimum of 8, maximum of 12. So somewhere between 8th and 12th finisher from stage 1 will then start on the pole. What we know about low wear 1.5 mile tracks, which is what Texas Motor Speedway is that track position means everything. And we'll get into a few stats here later on. But what I really have been looking at as far as trying to key in on with how this race is set up is who's fastest on restarts and who's fastest earlier in the run, and who has been on this track type this year. And it's the people that are always up front. They're the fastest on restarts. And there's a couple that, that sneak their way in. Matt DiBenedetto is really good on restarts in this package. Definitely someone to keep an eye on if he makes it to the All-Star race. But yeah, so track position is going to be everything, and we as fantasy players don't know all we know is who's going to have the track position to start and who's going to have it for the first 15 laps. After that, we just have no idea, and that's really the frustrating part. So, going down here to the third column or the third bullet from the bottom, only green flag laps will count. So that's noteworthy for DraftKings players because that means that there's going to be a full 45 points for fastest laps in this race. No matter how many cautions we have, none of that. There's going to be 100 green flag laps, which means there's going to be 45 fastest laps. And then obviously there's going to be 25 DraftKings points for laps led. Again, fastest laps is probably a little bit easier to predict, but laps led, we have no idea. We know Larson's probably going to lead the first 15. There we go. And after that, it's going to be the guy that's the person that finishes between 8th and 12th and where the invert starts, or where the invert happens, has a good chance to lead, the next however many laps. But so stage 2 happens. After that invert, somewhere between 8th and 12th. And then for stage 3, the entire field is inverted. So we're probably going to have someone like Bubba Wallace or Michael McDowell or Ryan Newman then having the track position to start the third round or the third stage and lead those laps. And the worst part about that is that then puts what technically should be the faster cars, the best cars of the race, in the back of the field. And then stage 4, or after stage 3, stage 4, invert via random draw again between 8th and 12th. So you can really, I really like what they're doing there with the random draw to determine where the invert is happening, just because it doesn't allow the teams to sandbag as much. Because you don't know, like last year, we saw at Charlotte in the Coca-Cola 600, we saw Alex Bowman pretty much game the system. They raced, they were going to race again, and like 2 nights later, I forget the exact days. But anyway, Alex Bowman led the most laps in last year's Coca-Cola 600. He lost final restart. He didn't get a good restart. He just completely let off the gas and went on to finish 19th to start on the front row, or 19th or 20th to start on the front row for the next race. Like that, it was a complete game of the system. It was smart. I don't blame them for doing it, but it's definitely something that happens when you have a very specific position. That's the one that is where everything's inverted from. So, I do like this, where they're doing the random draw. It doesn't allow teams to game this as much, and then obviously, for the start of round 3, the entire field will be inverted. You could game that system, but the starting positions for the final stage, the last 10-lap shootout, are going to be determined by the best cumulative finishing total from the first 5. So if a driver would purposely finish dead last in stage 3 or stage 2 just to start up front in stage 3, that's going to hurt them in that final, or could very well hurt them in that final placement of where they start for that 10-lap shootout. And honestly, it's probably going to be whoever gets the lead on the start of that 10-lap shootout. We're probably not going to see battles for the lead, at least among the fastest cars. So when they line up for the final 10 laps here, to determine the winner of this all-star race, it should be the best cars all night. So it's going to be who gets the best restart and who leads probably, out of turn 2 or turn 4 on that first lap back. So it's definitely an interesting and at the same time frustrating format. I don't hate it as much as other people do. I kind of like it. There's a lot of variables here. I like it from the aspect of a fan watching it. Um, it's I don't think it's too complex, but as far as fantasy and just trying to um like if I was gonna fully play DraftKings this week, I would that would be super frustrating for me. But hey, that's what we have to deal with, and it should be very. I think it's going to be a fun race. Hopefully, it is. Um, the All Star race has always been kind of a joke, in my opinion. I've never really enjoyed the All Star race, so um, that's how it's going to work, and that's what we have to deal with DraftKings. We also have to deal with so the starting positions, obviously place differential playing a huge factor this week, as is every week. It's really going to come down to with 100 laps, having the drivers that finish up front. And with pricing this week, you could probably fit in for the top 6 or 7 finishers, and that's gonna get it done for you. It's just trying to figure out who those guys are. So let's see. So I did run my algorithm with the 17 drivers that are already locked into the All-Star race as of Tuesday in that random draw. I will run it again on Sunday after the Open is done and we know the rest of the field, the full 21, but just run it with those 17 drivers. Actually predicts Kyle Busch to win the thing, just barely over Kyle Larson, William Byron 3rd, Martin Truex Jr. 4th, Ryan Blaney 5th, Elliott, Harvick, Keselowski, Hamlin, Logano, top 10. Those numbers, the power, and I mentioned this in the post, the power index numbers are going to change once I add more players or more drivers into the pool here and go the full 21. But the order, the predicted order shouldn't change a ton. It's just going to add in those 4 drivers, and which one it likes. So that's what that says. Now let's get to so let's look at going back to like I said, I'm looking at, I think restarts are going to be the most important thing here. So going back to last year's Texas race, I'm just going to pull up a few loop data. Stats, fastest driver early in the run at Texas last fall was Ryan Blaney. Kevin Harvick was up there, as was Bowman, Boyer, Truex, and Bell. Bell in that 95. Kyle Busch won that race, if you don't remember. Truex 2nd, Christopher Bell 3rd, Ryan Blaney 4th, Alex Bowman 5th. Going to fastest drivers on the restarts in that race, Martin Truex Jr., Alex Bowman, Ryan Blaney, Christopher Bell, Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski. The top 6 finishers were the top 6 fastest on restarts at Texas last fall. Like I said, that's just it's just a trend that I've noticed. Looking at all these numbers, and then also kind of looking at quality passes a little bit more this week and kind of focusing on it. I know typically I don't go into these numbers in my videos, but it's just kind of noteworthy to kind of look at, at a race like the All-Star race where passing is probably going to be needed in order for a driver to get the best position there, in that final stage. So, and obviously quality passes can be easily, Kyle Larson at Charlotte a couple weeks ago didn't have many quality passes because he had an average running position of like 2nd. or 1 point, whatever. But still something I think to take a look at. Keselowski, Byron up there at Texas last year, as was Austin Dillon and then Matt DiBenedetto. I really like Matt DiBenedetto in this package and on restarts. By the way, let's look at this year on. So this is low wear tracks for 2021. So we've had Las Vegas, Kansas, and Charlotte. Average running position, Kyle Larson just blowing everybody else out of the water. 2.4 average running position. Got Byron up there at 6.1, Kyle Busch at 6.7, Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin. Look at average finish. Got Kyle Busch at 2.3, then Keselowski at 5.3, Chase Elliott at 6.7. If we look at Dominator points, fastest laps, of course, Kyle Larson, 193. We got William Byron and Kyle Busch, both with a solid ratio here. You know, I talked about this last week. I look at this ratio of fastest laps to laps led. I love it when fastest laps are significantly higher than laps led. So we got Byron at 99 fastest laps, 44 laps led. Really like that. Kyle Busch 67 to 21. Really like that. Strong numbers there. And then Keselowski's up there, as is Chase Elliott as well in the fastest lap category. But those guys have more laps led. But Kyle Larson shouldn't surprise anybody. Looking at the 550 horsepower package overall this year, so this week in the All-Star race, they're not running the 550. It's gonna be closer like 510, but you know, obviously that's more similar to 550 than it is the 750. So we'll look at the 5 races with the 550 horsepower package this year. So it's the 3 low wear mile and a halfs, the Las Vegas, Kansas, and Charlotte, and then also throwing in Homestead and Atlanta. So those 5 intermediate tracks, all 550 horsepower package, is what this chart right now is showing. Average running position, best, Kyle Larson, 2.6, which is just over 5 races. That's absolutely ridiculous. Just stupid. William Byron, next best, solid again at 6.0. Kyle Busch, 8.1. Denny Hamlin, 8.4. Martin Truex Jr., 9.5. Looking at Dominator, let's look at finish first. Kyle Busch, 4.4. Kyle Larson, 5.4. Byron, 6.0. Hamlin. Austin Dillon, pretty solid right there at 9.2. And then Harvick at 9.4. Fastest laps, Kyle Larson, 315. Next best, William Byron, 137. Byron isn't getting that ratio like we saw with the low wear. That's probably because of his Homestead and how many laps he led there. But Kyle Busch still running solid with that ratio that I like to look at. 82 fastest laps to 21 laps led. Definitely a strong. I really like Kyle Busch this weekend. Starting second. And obviously my algorithm does too. But yeah. So yeah. It's Kyle. Like we know this by now. It's Kyle Larson and then everybody else, and it's not even close. Well, let's go. Let's kind of look. Before I'm not gonna do like a full driver by driver breakdown. So just to give you a little bit more information in this video, let's just look at the loop data from some of these races this year. So Homestead, we'll look at who was fastest on restarts and fastest early in the run and quality passes. So quality passes is up first. Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Austin Dillon. Austin Dillon shows up quite a bit in these quality passes, which I think is interesting and just noteworthy. Truex, Kurt Busch. Looking at fastest on restarts, William Byron, Martin Truex Jr., Kevin Harvick, Kyle Larson, all finished top 5, all right up there. Like I said, this is very, indicative of who runs. If you start higher up and you're running higher up, you're gonna be better on restarts. And then fastest early in the run, got William Byron, Larson, Kurt Busch. If you remember, Kurt Busch had like a tire issue late and had to rebound for that 8th place finish. But Keselowski, Chris Buescher, Kevin Harvick, Austin Dillon, all strong there in the early in the run. Looking at Las Vegas race, let's pull up early in the run, fastest on restarts, and quality passes. So quality passes at Las Vegas, Kyle Larson first. That's a bit surprising to me, but I think he started a little bit deeper in that race. Keselowski, who finished second, 113. Christopher Bell, solid. Byron again. Alex Bowman. Alex Bowman had a late issue in that race to finish 27th. I remember that well. I was so heavy on Alex Bowman that race. It wasn't even funny. That was also the race that Chase Elliott had the best car early and got that damage on his side, and it just killed his day. I'm not bitter, I promise. Fastest drivers early in the run that race, again, Kyle Larson, Brad Keselowski, William Byron, same guys. Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Christopher Bell. And then fastest on restarts, actually Denny Hamlin was the fastest on restarts in that race. Keselowski, Larson, all solid as well. You know, again, if you've kind of paid attention to these fast on restarts, Matt DiBenedetto, he's really good at restarts in this package. I'm telling you, I don't know how many times I have to say that. Very good at restarts in this package. If he makes it into the All-Star race, obviously he's gonna be a chalky pick because they automatically, whoever makes it in is starting 18th or worse. But really like DiBenedetto just for his restart prowess with this package. Going on to Atlanta, I bet I can tell you who was fastest early. It's probably going to be fast on restarts, fastest early, and quality passes. Quality passes in Atlanta, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., Chris Buescher, Denny Hamlin, William Byron. You'll notice these quality passes aren't as high at Atlanta as they were in the other races that we've been looking at. Just wasn't a lot of passing in Atlanta. Quality passing anyway. Fastest on restarts, Kurt Busch, he got wrecked by Hamlin early in that race, and that's why he's up there. But Kyle Larson obviously dominated the race. Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Kyle Busch, Alex Bowman, Chris Buescher. Once again, Chris Buescher's really up there on restarts. He's another guy. Again, DiBenedetto right here. But yeah, both those, Buescher and I obviously love DiBenedetto. Buescher's very good as well. He could get in too with the open. So definitely guys to keep an eye on there. And then fastest drivers early in the run, Larson, Blaney, Hamlin, Bowman, Kyle Busch, all finished top 5. All were top 5 in that category. Yeah. DiBenedetto, 11th. Going to Kansas, we got looking at quality passes, Chase Elliott tops, Christopher Bell, DiBenedetto, Reddick, Austin Dillon, all strong in that category there. Fastest driver early in the run, Kyle Larson, Keselowski, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick. It's the same guys every single time. Like this one, Byron's a little bit lower than normal. But again, DiBenedetto 12th. And then fastest on restarts, Larson, Blaney. I forget what happened to Blaney in that race, finishing 21st. Harvick, Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, Martin Truex Jr. All strong. I forget what I was going to say there. It's late. It's like 1:30 in the morning. And yeah, I think, did we get through all those races? So yeah, I'm just looking at DraftKings pricing this week. Like I said, I'm not going to go through all these drivers. One thing that's for sure is the guys that are going to make it in the open and by the fan vote are going to be super chalky because they're the worst starting in the field. They have, mindset says they have a little bit of experience on track. They just ran the open. They could be a little bit better. And obviously they have the highest upside potential for place differential. my recommendation and what I'm going to do with my lineups is kind of hit, that the higher starters that aren't going to get as much exposure, because theory wise says, someone like Kyle Larson, yes, he's going to be somewhat popular. But a guy like Kyle Busch probably isn't starting second. A guy like Christopher Bell starting third probably isn't. Austin Dillon starting fifth probably isn't going to get a lot of people on him. But you know what? One, I actually like the Austin Dillon play. Just running through those stats we just did, I liked where Austin Dillon showed up on a few of those. But I just like the theory of hitting that starting position, like the starting range there. The top 6, top 7 guys that aren't going to get the exposure that they probably should, because who's going to be in the best position to finish up front in the race? Probably the guys that are starting up front in the beginning. Just with how his format is, just for who those people are, they're definitely going to, I don't think their ownership is going to reflect on their potential to finish up front. And remember, this is a 100-lap race, so we have some dominator points up for grabs, but at the same time, finishing position is going to be huge with this all-star race. So, I know a lot of times we focus so heavy on place differential. I think this is the weekend, or this is the race, with only 21 drivers in it, to go against the grain and kind of, hit those guys that are starting, like Chase Elliott starting 6th. I think that's a great pick. Obviously Byron's going to be probably pretty popular just because of how good he's been on this track type. But like I said, Austin Dillon starting 5th. I don't like Custer very much starting 4th. But even, Kyle Busch starting 2nd, I really like that. He's probably going to be super low owned starting 2nd, and just, people getting worried about that. But that's how I would attack this slate. Like I said, I'm not playing much at all this weekend. I'm going to play because I play every week, but I'm definitely, I'm going to relax a week and get focused on what's going to be pretty hell of the next 4 races or so, with how the schedule is this year. So after the All-Star race, we then have Nashville, which has qualifying on the same day of the race, which is just absolutely awful for fantasy content creators. And I don't mean to say that to complain. It's awful. It sucks. It really makes me not want to do it. I'm rushed. I can't put out the quality of content that I know anybody that reads my stuff has come to expect out of me, and that frustrates me. And it's just because there's not enough time. When we have, I think when I was looking at the schedule, it was either for Road America or Nashville. I think it was Nashville, though. There's only like an hour and a half between what's probably going to be the end of qualifying and the start of the race, which, just is not good. And then after Nashville, we got the doubleheader at Pocono, which isn't as bad, but it's not great. And like I said, I'm not trying to complain here. I'm just, this whole next month is not fun. But Pocono, we got the race on Saturday, which, obviously that's going to be normal, my normal schedule of getting stuff done through Thursday and Friday for Saturday. But then it's turning around and doing it all again on Saturday night to prepare for Sunday morning. That's not the fun part at all. And then Road America after that, which has same day qualifying again. So, yeah. Like I said, I'm going to enjoy this weekend off. I'm not going to play much, maybe optimize some lineups into the mini max or something. But as far as my typical play, I'm severely limiting it this week. And if you play a bunch, good luck to you. Good luck to you if you don't. I think this is going to be a pretty fun format for the All-Star race, and hopefully we get some good action though. Texas kind of sucks, but yeah, we'll see. Good luck. See ya.